Okay, boom. And we are live. I want to thank everyone for tuning into a very special edition of Off the Record on the People's Podcast this evening. We have a magnificent guest with us tonight, one who is going to give us some amazing information as well as inspiration, and that is none other than Brother Tyrone Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Walaikum salam, beloved, to you and your show followers.
Beautiful, beautiful. Yes, sir. And we all are excited to hear from you. And the first question that we have is, when was the first time you heard the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad?
Beautiful question. I was a homeless teenager in Boston. And let me start off first and foremost in the name of Allah, who came to us in the person of Master Fard Muhammad, the great Mahdi. In the name of his messenger Messiah, the exalted Christ, the Mahdi, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, and in the name of their divine servant, the Messiah in our midst, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Again, I greet you. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam, sir.
When did I first hear the teachings? It's a conversation. So I'll give you my honest to God conversational answer if we were talking on my couch. Um, I first heard a man yelling. There was just a guy yelling on a videotape on a screen, the black man this and the black man that and the black man this. And I was so young and dumb, I might have been 16 years old. And I was staying with a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful Muslim family. My best friend at the time was named Asalam. May Allah be pleased with him. He's no longer with us. And his mother and father were registered prior to 75 Believers in Boston. So Sister Julia and Brother Joseph, ex-Motri, they let me in their home because I was homeless at the age of 16. So when I was there, Sister Julia was playing the minister. So this is Boston, 1986. And that's when I first heard the teachings. But I wasn't listening. So just for the mere fact that you said heard, I wasn't listening. I'm sure some of it went in my ears, but that's the first time I can recall hearing the voice of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And then I went in person at the janaza for Mother Sumaya Farrakhan. May Allah be pleased with her. This was November 27th, 1988. So now 2 years later, I was still living with the family. I was in high school. And then on Saturday, he buried his mother, may Allah be pleased with her. And then he came to Muhammad Mosque number 11 in Boston on Sunday. And those who might be listening who remember those days in the 80s and early 90s, he taught a 3 cassette lecture,
Mm, mm, mm.
a 3 cassette lecture after the passing of his mother. And on that day, I stood up, accepted Islam, and in line, I shook his hand. Praise be to Allah. I shook his hand and I said to him, Allah will bless me as he's blessed you. And I had no idea of all the ups and downs and trials and tribulations that he was blessed with.
Mm, 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 mm,
But
mm.
I will say that Allah has definitely blessed me, not to the same degree, but I received lots of blessings. And I laugh at the fact that that's what I told him. And he just nodded his head and, moved me along. But that was the first time in person I heard the life-giving teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. They sit you right on the front row in Boston. Brother Joseph X gave me his seat because usually the seniors, they put the seniors up there. Brother Joseph X gave me his seat. And I was just clapping and heard the minister. And little small tidbit for you, you should get him on your show if he hasn't already been here. Student Minister Randy Muhammad, that was his first day in the mosque as well. And we didn't even know each other at the time.
Beautiful. All praise due to Allah. And yes, sir, I've had the honor of interviewing Student Minister Randy. Did a great job, sir. Yes. Okay, so I want to stay right there. How the circumstances of you becoming homeless and what advice you give to others who may be dealing with the homeless situation as we speak.
The circumstances of me becoming homeless, I'm not going to pull no punches, is ignorance and being hard-headed and stupid and just being a child. That's the circumstances. The principle, a little bit more detail, but not too much. The principal detail was I didn't understand the dynamics of my mom and her adult male friend. And I wanted food. I came home one day and wanted food. I asked for food. I couldn't get food. Now, when you're 16 years old, you don't understand that sometimes someone else buys food for your house. Someone else, your mother's cooking food for somebody else. I'm 16 years old, chesty, arrogant, needing attention from my mother. Don't know, or not, no idea of who my biological father is. So this is just a dude to me. And I'm trying to eat the food. She says it's for so and so. So she said if I didn't like her rules, I could leave. So I left the house at the age of 16. I was a 10th grader in high school, and
Hmm.
I was out. So that those were the circumstances. I'm able to say that because decades have passed by. Of course, my mom and I, we've well made up. But praise be to Allah. Praise be to Allah. She's come to the mosque and everything. She supports me. She's up in age now. And I was able to cry with her. And I was able to share with her my pain. And she was able to share with me that story. I didn't, brother Joshua, I didn't know the dynamics of her being out of work and a man taking care of the bills and putting food in the refrigerator. And I didn't understand that. And I didn't know it until I would say maybe 2015. 2015. So we
Hmm.
talking from like 86 to 2015, but that's when my mom needed some help and she was living with me here in Western Massachusetts for a couple of months and off and on for a couple of years. And we had that moment together. We cried and hugged and made up. And then she told me that she was out of work and she needed help, and that was her boyfriend, and he hooked up. And by the time I'm now a father, father of four, married for decades. I totally understand the ups and downs of income, and now I get it. Oh, that was food for him to get ready for work. But you couldn't tell arrogant, 85% of Tyrone that, 40 years ago. So
Hmm.
that's I pray I answered your question.
Yes, sir. Praise be to God. I'm glad that you and your mother reconciled. That's always a wonderful thing. Brother 147 Savage from Flint, Michigan, tapping in, showing love. Peace family from Brother Rashad Muhammad from Dallas. These exciting interviews coming. Oh, thank you very much, and everyone who continues to
Praise
show
be to
love.
Allah.
Yes, sir. Now, Brother Tyrone, we also wanted to ask you about. Oh, you spoke about the drug addiction born baby. Can you go into that?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I've been on this 3-day fast and I just had some bean soup and whole wheat bread. So you spoke, when we spoke the other day, you spoke to non-fasting, straight middle of the workday, rough around the edges, raw Tyrone. So you're doing good by going back to that dude. Um, my, I was born and my mother told me that she was under a lot of stress. I'm the baby of the family. And my brother and my sister, um, we have, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is very public, and I'm striving, without offending anybody, to be the same. We have different fathers. We have different fathers. And my biological birth mother's husband, and on my birth certificate, that gentleman, he's not my father, but there was no other name that she could put. That she, easily could put. So he is a veteran. And I know in the Nation of Islam and part of the Million Man March, we're very sensitive to veterans issues, veterans needs. So we're impacted by that. Um, he had cerebral hemorrhaging of the brain, and he was I believe, a Korean War veteran.
Mm-hmm.
So my slave name came from him. He's on my birth certificate, but my mother married this gentleman in 67, had us, my sister had my brother, and she was pretty young. So by the time she was 19, it was 1970, he went into the hospital. So my mother was young of age when she already had her third, child. So where her husband that she married in 67, who went into the hospital and became in a vegetative state around 69, 1970, she ended up being comforted by some of his friends um, with alcohol, drugs, and she was just swallowing her pain of just being married in 67, and then her husband, within the first 2 to 3 years of her marriage and giving her two children, going into the hospital. So the way I put the story is that one of her friends, and I'll say Allah blessed, one of her friends to comfort her so much that he comforted her with a child along with, the drugs and other stuff. And 9 months later in November of 1970, I was born. My mother told me I had to spend 4 extra days in the hospital getting the drugs weaned out my system. She told me that she used to crawl along the hospital wall to visit her husband, who was once again in a vegetative state. And she was so struggling with depression and self-medicating with the drugs and alcohol that she was holding on and to the walls, and climbing along the walls. But I smile with joy. I smile with joy because of those circumstances. Once again, if it wasn't for the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and how he's been open with his birth, we all should look back at our parenting. We should all look back at our birth and those circumstances. Praise be to Allah for the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Um, it allowed me to go back and study it, go back, study it, embrace it, and own it. So I know I have an addictive, clingy personality. Anybody that knows me personally, and just you and I building for this last week, it's like, this brother keep texting me. This brother sent me all these pictures. This brother's open for this. I mean, can you imagine being in the same city and knowing me? I bond real tight with the brotherhood. I bond real tight with the mission. The pros of that are I'm dedicated. The con is if I'm placed in the wrong hands. I could have bonded with the streets. I could have bonded with Blue Hill Avenue. I could have bonded with Interview. I could have bonded with street gangs up here in Boston. Instead, I bonded with the Nation of Islam, but that's where, praise be to Allah, but that's where Allah placed me from my childhood friend Al Salam, Brother Joseph and Sister Julia, the Moultrie family, and then eventually going there. But no, I'm grateful for my mom and I'm grateful for those birthing conditions because I don't drink, I don't do drugs. And that's even prior to Islam
Mm.
because I was afraid of not having that control. And when my mother told me I spent extra days in the hospital getting weaned off of drugs, I really was freaked out and scared of alcohol and drugs. But I'm grateful to Allah, all those circumstances, and I'm grateful to Allah that I'm addicted to Islam.
Beautiful. All praises. Into excellent, powerful testimony, and people were showing you love all around the
Praise be to
world,
Allah.
sir.
Praise be to Allah.
Yes, sir. Now, coming up, um, I want to speak about the days of Boston with this is Captain Salim.
No,
Uh,
no, no. That was
is it
Phoenix.
Phoenix? That's Phoenix. That's Phoenix.
So
But
yeah,
he,
that's Phoenix. That's Ak. But you're talking about it would be Captain Abdul Jabbar Muhammad.
yes, sir.
And the days of Boston, I came in because I did a little research because you pronged my memory about the Stewart case and the woman that was killed by her white husband, and he blamed it on some brothers, and they arrested brothers wrongfully in Mission Hill. The mayor of Boston, Mayor Wu, just last year apologized to the
Mm,
brothers that were arrested. Praise be to Allah. She apologized to the brothers that were arrested, but 1989, I'm now 1 year exposed actively in a mosque to Islam, barely registered. And the Stewart case was what Student Minister Don Muhammad, or Minister Don, may Allah be pleased with him, was dealing with. So Minister Don was really big, blazing. He was on fire with the Stewart case. There were radio stations that he and his assistant minister at the time, Brother Rodney, now Rodney Muhammad, they were on the radio, WRBB, WILD. These were radio stations, and every Sunday, the Minister Don literally was like the Don. He took charge of his city. He took charge of his city. He manifested absolutely. He manifested God ability in politics.
mm, mm.
He manifested God ability in navigating. I went back and I reviewed Brother Regional Captain, Dennis's interview with you. And I gotta say, hands down, that as the Supreme Captain told Brother Dennis, student ministers should definitely take from Student Minister Don's book or Minister Don's book how he orchestrates and how he handles administration. He Mayor Flynn had an honorary FOI hat. A
mm,
white mayor had an
mm,
honorary FOI hat. Everybody knows about stories of the chief police commissioner, Chief Billy Celestor, from Boston down to New York. So the minister really, Minister Dawn, excuse me, Minister Don really orchestrated things. So those early days of Boston was with, once again, Minister Don's ministry class. He let Brother Rodney X run the class. So this is like 88, 89. When I took my letter out, and I got a funny story for Sister Virginia, if you remember, regarding my letter. Um, but when I took my letter out, we weren't processing, too fast or too well. So Brother Rodney was taking me to prisons, and I was teaching in the prisons with my slave name in
mm,
like November of 88, December of 88. And um, it was something else. And then I washed my suit in the washing machine. And a brother Rodney, he's now the minister of Cambridge. If he's listening, he'll be laughing. But you remember, I'm from Roxbury, I'm from Dorchester, I'm from Blue Hill Ave, I'm from Brunswick, I'm from Devon. I'm from the streets. I didn't really go to church. I didn't wear suits. So I'm teaching in the prisons, and I'm wearing a double-breasted gray suit. There was wool, not this one, right? But a double-breasted gray wool suit. I put it in the washing machine in January, and it shrunk. So Brother Ronnie was calling me in January, February, March, and I didn't come back to the mosque until April of 89, because I thought that you couldn't be an FOI without a suit and a bow tie. So
mm,
this is just how just wired up and crazy and just immature in the teachings I was. But it was a very hot atmosphere. Boston was very racial. A lot of people, one, they're surprised that there's black people in Boston. And then two, when they do find out black people's in Boston, they think of Frederick Douglass, of course, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, Malcolm X had a stint up here. But the racism is major. We have sections. So I went to school in South End. As we talked privately on the phone, I don't talk with a heavy accent. I couldn't talk like that because of my professional, career that, started in the 90s, early 90s. But Minister Don was handling the Stewart case. He was blazing on the hypocrisy. They were investigating, and they were just locking up brothers and doing search and frisk. And it was just a lot of ill treatment. Minister Don is known, and I can tell you with my own eyes, not only did he orchestrate and run staff meetings Sundays in the mosque, but he also orchestrated with what was known as the Interfaith Ministerial Alliance.
mm,
So Worthy, once again, I know you had him on the show, but Brother Randy knows a lot about that. Brother Rodney from Cambridge used to be Minister Don's assistant. He knows a lot about that. But the Interfaith Ministerial Alliance, it was when all these atrocities or injustices were taking place in Boston, the same way that Minister Don coordinated the laborers, the staff, and had staff meetings, then had large mosque staff meetings. So he met with his 5 laborers or 4 laborers, then he met with mosque staff. So you had the MGT staff, the FOI staff, and then we even had committees. So I have a corporate America background. So while I'm from the streets, I got one foot in the streets. I'm still, I call it picking cotton. I'm still picking cotton in downtown Boston, wearing a suit and a tie. Now we're taking, say, 80, 89, 90 into 91. So I know what Minister Don's doing. He's running the nation's business as a business. In the same way he ran it internally, he ran the interfaith and was part of the Interfaith Ministerial Alliance. So he built a brotherhood of the ministers, and they overcame. There were differences. One of the reverends talked about it at the janazah or the funeral for Minister Don. But while there were religious ideological differences, all our people were suffering in Roxbury, Dorchester, Mattapan. All our people were suffering up and down Blue Hill Ave, up and down Talbot Ave, up and down Warren Street. And Minister Don and the Interfaith Ministerial Alliance, they always were holding the police, the mayor, and the city accountable for illnesses and wrongdoing in the Black community. So anyone that thinks that I'm organized, I got that from Minister Don Muhammad. I would say the humble. I got that from Minister Don Muhammad. I got that from Minister Don Muhammad. He handles mosque business as it should be, as a business.
Praise be to Allah.
And I'll be
Beautiful.
pleased with him.
Man, I'll be pleased when it's done. And people bear witness. Walaikum salam, but Shaka Shakur. Thank you for holding it down for Atlanta. Sister Miriam Muhammad, walaikum salam. Sister Naima Muhammad, walaikum salam. And thank you to everyone. Please let us know what city you all are watching. Oh, Brother Ian holding it down. Let's get the thumbs up. Thank you, Brother Ian from Washington, D.C. Thank you for always showing love. Yes, sir. I wanted to ask you, how do you go from Boston to Arizona, to Phoenix, Arizona?
You know, I'm going to give you an honest answer because I don't know how to be other than honest. It's by not understanding good guidance. That's the raw answer because I was going to share the story of how I wanted to drop out of high school because
Okay.
I was very, very antsy. And I wanted to drop out of high school. And Brother Rodney X, now, Student Minister Rodney from Cambridge, he was telling me, go to school, graduate school. No one could get me to do it. So then he brought me to Minister Don. Now, Minister Don evidently must have known me for years because those who are in Boston know that he used to have a dry cleaner on Blue Hill Avenue. And Blue Hill Avenue, his dry cleaner was on the corner of Blue Hill Ave and Devon Street. I used to live on Devon Street. My brother, who, I got a brother who's doing time. My brother was talking to me just the other day. We talk over the phone and do video calls. But my brother, he said, Tyrone, you remember we used to shovel in front of Nova Clean, Novasheen. Novasheen was the name of the carpet company that Minister Don
Mm.
used to do floors, Novasheen flooring and a dry cleaner. And I said, we did because that's another issue from the drugs. He was like, yeah, we did. I said, I didn't remember that. He says, yeah, Minister Don used to pay us money and we would shovel snow. And I remember seeing Sister Virginia walking up and down Blue Hill Avenue with her headpiece, and sometimes she had a big afro. So I've known Sister Virginia's face and her beautiful energy even prior to Islam. So the bad guidance that made me go to it was not knowing how to understand Minister Don at one time. The Minister Don gave me advice from Brother Rodney. They brought me to Boston, Brother Tyrone, speak to Minister Don. He's like, Brother Tyrone, did your brother graduate from school? I said, no, sir. Did your sister graduate from school? I said, no, sir. He said, if you don't want to do it for yourself, do it for your mother. Praise be to Allah. So I took that advice and I graduated from high school in 1990. So now you ask the question, what made you end up in Arizona? Minister Don Muhammad um, asked me to go to Lynn. Lynn is a northern suburb of Massachusetts. It's north of Revere. It's north of the airport, north of the airport. And there were drugs, there were situations out there, etc. So I went to Lynn in 1994. And so I registered in Boston in 88, got my ex in 89, and I was involved with the ministry. I was immature, Brother Joshua. I was I was cocky. I was full of myself, and I didn't understand the guidance. So we I sent you pictures. We we were growing a study group, and you have to understand, coming from the streets, we're very competitive, Brother Joshua, and we're competitive whether it's girls, we're competitive whether it's car systems, we're competitive over on who got the fresh Adidas or the freshest Nikes. We're competitive, and we chest up on each other. Now you take that and you add supreme wisdom to it. So we know, and as a DI, we can stick our chest out when we can build better than New York. We can drill better than Atlanta. We taking the trophy from Houston, or we gonna take it from Miami. So we get that bravado. Minister Don had a cadre of ministers or student ministers in the class in Boston, and I used to assist Brother Rodney. So we were sending people to Cambridge, sending people to Lawrence, sending people to Brockton, Springfield, Worcester. So, we were sending people out to different cities, and a lot of these cities had a study group prior to 75, had a study circle prior to 75.
Mm,
And I was so young, I was 24 when he sent me. Prior to those years, me and Randy were lieutenants, we're in the ministry, and I'm assisting Brother Rodney, and I'm assisting him at times. I'm popping up in Brockton, I'm popping up in Springfield, I'm showing up in Providence, and I'm only covering down, I'm opening, or I'm doing a lecture, and I'm getting a taste of what these study groups are. And at the same time, I sent you pictures. Um, I'm being trained on the military side by Captain Jabba. May Allah be pleased with him.
oh,
Anyone who knows anything about Captain Jabba, and it's inside of the Restrictive Law of Islam book, he's a tough captain, and he's hard on men, and we loved him, and I'm getting fed that juice and that energy. So by the time I went full-fledged into the ministry, but already having a real solid background with the military with brother Captain Jabba, and then his captain was Bernard and brother Michael. Anyone who knows them know they were good captains. I was a bit chesty and arrogant by the time I got into the ministry, and I said I was sent to a city that never had a location. So Minister Don was trusting me with all the Islam that I had in me from the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the example of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and then the local example of Minister Don and touching base with all these satellites or cities. He thinks I can go to Lynn, where there's no history of a study group, and just take message to the black man and teachings and get something going. And I said, you're damn right I can. You understand that? Not you're damn right by the grace of Allah, not with the help of Allah. You
mm.
you you understand? So
Yes, sir.
I can say this now in 2025. You couldn't tell me that in 1994.
Mm,
So I went out there and I did good. I did a good thing by the grace of Allah. And we did a good thing by the grace of Allah. But the intentions and the motives behind what you do determine its staying power. So a brother spoke with me, and this is answering your question, but you got to get the full context of your answer. A student minister spoke with me because when Minister Don passed, may Allah be pleased with him, my phone was blowing up because a lot of us still know each other. There's very few of us still active from that class. So one of the brothers called me. He said, Tyrone, if you would have stayed in Lynn, you'd have your number.
mm,
His name won't be mentioned, but he know who he is, and I love him. But he said, Brother Tyrone, if you stayed in Lynn, you would have had your number. I said, beloved, I understand what you meant, but that's the problem right there. It wasn't my number. It's not
mm.
your city. It belongs to number two. It belongs to headquarters. It belongs to the nation, and it belongs to the cause of Allah. I said, so when we think it's ours, the moment Minister Don asked me, Brother Tyrone, change this, change that. I'd like you to do this and do that. I got all in my ego. I thought it was all about me. Mine, me. If I can't have it my way, I'm out of here. So yeah, beloved, it was immaturity and not being mature enough at the age. At the time, I'm 27 years old. I was 27 when I moved to Phoenix. I was 23 to no, I was 24 to 27. Nope, I was 23 to 27 when I was down with the study group because I was still 23 at the beginning of 94. So I'm a baby, cocky, chesty, arrogant as heck. And we had about 18 registered. We had a building. I don't know if you share pictures on your show or anything like that, but your brother, I got a setup here where I could share pictures. I can do the whole thing. I'm a little bit of a geek with Zoom and computers, but
Okay, so wait, so Brother Tyrone. So first of all, I want to thank you for your transparency. This is what we can do? I want to read some of the comments, but I want to know, are you able to set it up now? Because I can make it shareable.
I got it already set up.
Okay, perfect. 1 second. Well, I just want to read some of the comments. People bear witness. Brother Duke, watching live from Montreal, Canada. Peace. This is Aaron Barnes. Peace be unto you, family. Peace be unto you. Quran Unlocked. Hey, Ace Ed. Walaikum salam, Brother Imam. Tuned in, Brother Imam Edwards, and everyone. Thank you all very much. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to have a brief 60-second commercial break for all of the sponsors of the People's Podcast. We are grateful for every like, share, and subscription. Thank you all very much. Thank you for every anonymous Cash App. And then once we come back, we'll make it shareable for our brother, so he can, take us. Man, this is great history, and we love it. This is what the People's Podcast is all about. Second. If you need any of that, Sister Naima, Stay on Point Dance Academy. She teaches ballet virtually to young girls all across the country. Sister Miriam, ABC I Love Me children's book and coloring book. My father's book, A Soldier in the Movement of Christ. My two books, Cleopatra, which is a children's book, and No Father, No Excuse, both of which are available on Amazon. Excellent. Second. Okay. As well as S Enterprise, Barber and Beauty products. They have a plant-based kosher wave brush. Everybody get your, waves and all that good stuff. Their website is kosherwave.com with the K, 770-997-6000. Brother Jeffrey Searcy Muhammad, Sister Stephanie Lasan Muhammad. They are in Africa right now as we speak, and I should be doing an interview with them, inshallah, coming up live from the motherland. Beautiful. All right, 1 second, brother. So make this so that you can share. Okay. And we got to, and this is for student minister, Brother Tyrone. You're able to share now.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And you can feel free to call me brother. You call me student minister. That's gonna melt very well in some hearts, but that'll also vex a lot of people. So just call me Brother Tyrone.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. Yep. All right. Yes, sir.
All right. So that first picture that I'll share would be here we go, and I'll share it in this manner. So the way I'm sharing this screen, you should be able to see you should be able to see Minister Don. You can see
Yes,
Minister
sir.
Don, right?
Yes, sir.
And you can see me off to the side, right?
That is correct.
All right, all right. So I just want to um I gotta say, beloved brother Joshua, and you can correct me if I speak in error. You would not be speaking to me today if it wasn't for the man who's on that screen, Minister Don Muhammad. Am I right?
That is correct.
Because I posted on Facebook his passing and it hit me hard. The protocol director from Boston, Brother Ralph Muhammad, he sent me a text message and I had to call him immediately. He was there with the family upon Brother Don's passing and returning to Allah. So we prayed and I wished the best. And that's what I mean. I know we wouldn't be talking. It'd be a couple of years and me doing some work because right now I'm a full-time student in school. I really haven't been on the radar, but it was from that Facebook post that caused you to reach out to me. So may Allah be forever pleased with Brother Don Muhammad, Minister Don Muhammad. And that's why we're talking. But it was him who told me to graduate from high school. It was him that told me to believe in myself and that I can help the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and get a city going. And the other name that I mentioned was Brother Captain Jabba Muhammad. Brother Captain Jabba, may Allah be pleased with him. He's the captain that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan was discussing when he talked about, Captain Clarence X in Boston, Captain Jabba, that is him. And we were very, very close. When Minister Don sent me up to Lynn, Brother Captain Jabba came and had dinner with my wife. That's my beloved wife, Sister Masha Muhammad. At the time, we were both ex, Sister Masha ex, Brother Tyrone ex. And he came to Lynn, where we had the study group, and he gave me advice. We started off the study group in my house. We were teaching from a speaker on a radio speaker was the podium, and we were teaching in the house. But it was Brother Captain Jabba that told me to get it out of my house, and he also said, Master Fard Muhammad, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and Minister Farrakhan. Anyone after those three is suspect. And brother, I had no idea what he meant until years from now, years from then rather, did I understand the guidance at the time with my addictive personality and my addictive behavior. Anyone and everyone that wore a headpiece or a bow tie, I clung on. Do you understand why I gave you that history? So he knew how serious I was about it, but excuse me, we really did get blessed. And this is, I think I got some miscellaneous. This is the picture of what the study group, Allah bless me to get it. This is here we go. This is a picture of the study group. That's when I guess at the time he became the regional minister, but Minister Benjamin Chavis Muhammad came out to Lynn. This was after the Million Man March, shortly after the Million Man March, and we were doing something. We were uh we were rocking and rolling. Believers from Boston know that those chairs there, Minister Don and Brother Ronnie, they let me use those chairs, and they sent them up to Lynn. That's those chairs are from Boston, and I actually believe that podium used to be an old rostrum out of Boston. But
Mm,
Minister Don sent me up to Lynn to get a city going, and by the grace of Allah, that's your brother with shaded glasses and a little bit more hair. But we were busy up there. We were busy up there. But when we got to a certain size, when we got to a certain size, it needed structure, it needed organization, and it began to get attention. The attention it got, Minister Don asked me to come back to Boston, and he wanted me to begin to get on a radio station, and he wanted me to teach in Boston, um, whenever I desired, and I didn't take it the right way. I was young and dumb. You're taking my city. You want my just crazy ego, crazy. You're taking my city. You're trying to kill my growth. Da, 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 da. So I'm not going to leave the nation. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said, if you have a disagreement, you definitely don't take up arms or you don't fight, but instead just go somewhere else. Just leave the room or go somewhere else. So I went to another room in the house, and that's what made me go to Phoenix. And I'll say it was Father's Day. It must have been Father's Day, I believe, either 1999. I called back. You got 0488 and 6082. People from Boston know those numbers. I ain't been in Boston in decades, but there's some local numbers that you can call to speak to Minister Don. And I called him because he was like a father. And we cried on Father's Day, 1999. We
mm,
cried on Father's Day. All praise is due to Allah. Because while I might have a faulty memory here and there, he might have remembered that. I think that's the little scruffy old boy that used to shovel the snow. And that's the boy that I told to graduate from high
mm,
school. And that's
mm.
the boy that was helping Brother Rodney and he with the ministry. And I was not going to let ego get the best of me. And we definitely talked, we cried, and then I came out to Boston in 2000 before we went down to DC for the 5-year anniversary of the Million Man March. And I had my son. He's like 25 now, but I had my son in my arms on the podium. And Minister Don let me say a couple of words in Boston when I visited Boston in 2000. So we definitely I guess with a tone, and it was beautiful. Um, you you might want to ask about Brother Dennis came to Boston, and it was so bad. Brother Dennis came to Boston because he was a regional minister, a regional captain, as he told you on his show. And you can ask him, you can validate this. He told a good story. He told a story about a movie called Crimson Tide. Crimson Tide is a young upstart, Denzel Washington,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
and a older military general, a military um, uh, um, extraordinary strategist. I believe it was Gene Hackman,
Correct.
and he told the story. They called all the cities, Boston, and all the satellites together, study groups together, and he taught this story. Never spoke to me directly. Never spoke to me directly. Brother Dennis never spoke to me directly. But if he's watching the show or if he reaches out to you or whatever, when he taught that story with all the satellites there, it was in principle saying, you little cities, you little satellites, you little study groups, you young brothers that Minister Don sent out to these cities, you think you know something. But Minister Dunn, the same ministry manual they were arguing from, the same provisional constitution they were arguing from, Minister Don gave consultation on those books, help write basis of those books. So here you are picking up the book saying, it says this, it says that, it says this, it says that. And that was your brother. Brother Dennis was so kind and patient. He said, the stuff that you all are arguing from is the type of stuff that Gene Hackman wrote. So he was doing an analogy of some of his upstairs. I could put it on me, but I'm sure there were others.
Yes,
And
sir.
it was heavy. But yeah, that's what caused me to go out to Boston was I didn't know how arrogant I was. I didn't know how vain and insensitive I was. And then I didn't know how to handle disappointment. And I didn't know how clingy or how dependent I was on that relationship with Minister Don. Because where everyone else may have viewed him as just a minister, I viewed him without the absence of father. And then my inclination to just dive deep, I held him as my father figure. In the moment I went into a difference with my father, I seen parts of Brother Tyrone that only Sister Masha, and thank Allah that she's been with me for 33 years, but only Sister Masha has seen. But yes, that's what caused your brother to go to Phoenix. But yeah, the ministry class was pretty big in Boston, and Minister Don ran a very good and tight ship. That's what caused me to go to Phoenix.
All praises to Allah. Man, powerful. Thank you for your transparency and your honesty. People will bear witness all around the world. Um, Welcome salam, Sister Blair, Sister Safa. Happy Savior's Day to everyone. Thank you for that. I learned so much from the experiences and life of the believers and they share. Michael Muhammad tapping in from Mosque number 80. Praise be to Allah. Thank you for watching from Mosque number 80. Can you please clear Mosque number 80 for everyone so we can know exactly which where Mosque number 80 is? So thank you very much, Brother Michael. Okay, yes, sir. So you get to now. Let's talk about as you refer to him as Ak, our brother, Captain Salim, and then you said we want to ask about him and how important he was in your development, as well as Captain Amin, Brother Wahid. Yes, sir. We're listening to you.
All right, all right, all right. Um, I wish I had pictures of Brother Salim. May Allah be pleased with him. I really wish I do. I did. But I'll say this. I'll say this about Brother Salim, which I already know many of us in close circles will call him Ak. When I went to Phoenix, I was from out of town. I'm from Boston. The good thing was I'm from a city. I was active when the minister came up here. Brother Salim, Brother Rashad, the E team was there. So the soldiers, we were on post. We got into that mix. So I was in that mix. So when I moved to Phoenix, while the brothers may not have known my face, Brother Salim did. So I was able to be still in that mix, and Brother Salim worked with me, trusted me, and I was able to do lots of security, whether it was at, of course, the National House, or if the minister got ill, we were at the hospital. There are times we went out to LA, details at certain hotels, and real trusted circles. I've been blessed to be on the door where the minister's playing the violin early in the morning. And you already know because of your father, and you've been on post. And to hear him practicing that violin back in the late 90s, early 2000s, or to be trusted at that door or that hospital floor or by that hospital elevator, and you already know you a soldier, we ready to die on the spot. Anyone come on a hospital floor or approach that door, anything, move that ain't right, to be trusted in those circles took a lot. So Brother Salim allowed me to be in those places and in those circles. So he gets a lot of love for that. Brother Wahid, love Brother Wahid, Sister Ann, or Anaya's husband. Brother Wahid, he was so endeared with me, he wouldn't even call me Brother Tyrone. He
Mm,
would call me Brother Boston, Brother
mm,
Boston, Brother Boston. And the beauty of Phoenix was that like I told you when we talked personally, I learned the structure, if you will. I learned the structure and I learned administration out of Boston. I learned the word and the importance of spirituality out of Phoenix. And I first went down there, I told you, once again, coming right out of Boston, I know how to drill. I know how to do security. I know how to search. I know how to wear a suit. So just chesty, arrogant, crazy as heck. Now I'm in my late 20s. I must have been 27, 28, 27, 28. Now my wife and I were up to maybe one child and a pregnancy. And I'm still trying to be at the mosque and be Superman. And I learned a lot of humility in Phoenix. I learned a lot of humility in Phoenix. The picture that I'll share now, because I thank a lot for Brother Wahid. He really embraced me, calling me Brother Boston. Um, you'll see here. Let me get it right. All these different monitors. I got three monitors, beloved brother
yes,
Joshua.
sir. Do you think? Do you think?
All right. So this is me with some of the brothers in Phoenix.
Okay,
And
okay.
the beauty is you go through phases. You see me cheesing and smiling, right? All day on this interview, right? But here, this is me, like like something is just gonna just jump out from any old place and I'm just going to kill it. But you know that mode we be in as young brothers, you know. So I
Mhm.
think God knows how old I am here, but this is the brotherhood in Phoenix. Yes, man, a lot of people, Brother Robert, Brother Karen, Brother Dwayne, Brother Aaron, Brother Allen, Brother Amin, Student Minister Patrick, but lots of good brotherhood. But that was Phoenix. So I got a lot of love in Phoenix. You said that your brother, one of your co-hosts, or someone who works with you, brother Ronald. Brother
Yes, sir.
Ronald helps you out. Sister Deb, that's Sister Deb, his mom, I believe, and his father. I look at brother Ronald's post once in a while on Facebook, and I see him. Anybody looking for security work? Anyone? I got to cover some shift. I knew his father, Brother Randolph. May Allah be pleased with him. And
Mm.
Brother Randolph was very industrious. So the fruit, once again, doesn't fall too far from the tree. So nothing but love and salute to Brother Ronald and him being so industrious. But yeah, the Phoenix Mosque, I got nothing but love for the believers out there in Phoenix. And it was in Phoenix that I had the awesome opportunity. I served for a couple of years as the student assistant minister for Brother Patrick. And that was an interesting way that I got into that. And they had some challenges with the secretarial department. So he wasn't too sure which direction he can go and who he could trust. It's a very sensitive post. So he said, Brother Tyrone, I know you're helping me as the assistant minister, but I need a secretary. I said, well, as long as I can still help out and, teach because I like the word, if you trust me and I get it, I used to do a study group. I understand, the SOP. I'll help out in the secretary department. Did not want to do it, did not like doing it. But the blessing of serving in that capacity, I was able to have counsel with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and that was a highlight. So if I didn't say yes to becoming the student secretary, then I wouldn't have been invited to. I was invited to this dinner with Sister Captain Rita, of course, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, our beloved Mother Khadija, Brother Amin, may I be pleased with him, Student Minister Patrick, and Student Minister Joel. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful believers. And at that night, I was in that night I was working in real estate, and the minister was joking, and he said, "Brother, can I have a loan?" Because at the time I was doing underwriting. I was actually a loan officer, a senior sales manager, and I actually did real estate and helped with some of the financing and some of the consulting for, the direction of Mosque number 32 back in the day, helped out many of the believers with their homes. And I believe might have been Savior's Day 2006. I actually worked with Sister Karen Rockman, um, and we did a real estate presentation at Savior's Day in 2006. Praise be to Allah. May Allah be pleased with her. And that's why every time I see the Akils Savior's Day, I see their table, I show them nothing but love, because in Phoenix, I was in that circle, and it was a very, very safe and special circle to be in. So yeah, that was a little bit of Phoenix. Pardon me for running on. The floor is yours.
Yes, sir. No, yes, sir, man. We are honored and thank you very much. We enjoying. People were texting me saying they're loving the PowerPoint. This is beautiful. Love this presentation. Brother Imam Jihad, assalamu alaikum salam. He said he loves the student minister's passion and honesty. Thank you very much, sir. Yes, I appreciate your humility as well, brother, student minister Tyrone, because, well, here's something I'm very fascinated by. So I interviewed a brother, like the brother Imam, who went to Mecca. He went to Medina, Madrid. Like, he's naming all of these places he's been. He leaves the Qutbah, but he's just like, I'm just not. I'm like, well, aren't you an imam? He was like, yeah, but I don't really like to go. I know everybody's humble, but we still got to have some kind of titles. I interviewed one brother. It wasn't until the last question that he just said, by trade, I'm a scientist. Well, I'm like, you could kind of, I ain't saying pop it. I'm not saying wear it on your chest, but I mean, y'all, we can say student in front of everything. I respect that. But we want to know, brother, I'm in ministry. You teach the word of God. You go in prisons. We want to acknowledge that. So this is for history, y'all. We just acknowledging
I
what people
submit.
are for
I
history.
submit. I submit. I submit.
That's all we doing. I wanted to ask you about the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan's advice to you when you were the assistant minister in Phoenix, as well as secretary, and how it affected your family and how that all came about.
All right. All right. Well, I'll that's domestic.
Okay.
That's domestic. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna do this one. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has a lot of power, and he doesn't abuse it, and he doesn't misuse it. You can see. Am I still doing the am I doing that picture and pick?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We're right here with you.
So you can see your brother used to like those big glasses, and I still like those big glasses, right? You got to know how to laugh at yourself.
Yes, sir.
But the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan loves marriage, loves family, and I wanted to marry my wife at the age of, she was 19 and I was 21. And by the grace of Allah, she's ride or die MGT, and she's been there throughout the years, and I wouldn't have been with her. I wouldn't have been able to go and see Beyonce and Jay-Z if it wasn't for the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, because I would have been single. I wouldn't have been able. I wouldn't have been able to take her to Jamaica for her birthday. Any MGT listening and watching knows that I can't tell you the age she was when I took her to Jamaica. But for her birthday, for a certain birthday, I took her to Jamaica, and she prayed for Savior's Day to have dinner with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And if I didn't get relieved from that post back in Phoenix, I don't think I would have been blessed to go to dinner with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan on Savior's Day 2024, when he had a dinner with a small group. So I gotta say that before I talk about the advice he gave, I'm grateful for the fruit of that advice. Praise be to Allah. I'm grateful for the fruit of that advice and what that advice yielded. So, brother minister, if you're watching or listening, or if anyone in your circle is it, the brother stayed married to her, and we're now 33 years married, and she ain't throwing me away, and I'm not going to any city trying to be Superman unless I'm forced. Um, so I'm involved. Once again, I'm really deep into it. So I'm at the mosque 3 to 5 days a week. I'm dealing with mosque business 5 to 6 days a week. I'm working a full-time job 5 long hours a week. And I'm always in some sort of professional grade job. So at the time now, I'm in real estate, as I told you before, I'm a sales manager. So all these things are demanding. By this time now, my wife is up to child number 4. So
Mm,
I'm now a father of 4 children, married at the time for maybe 15 years or so, but still functioning like I'm single. Do you understand the problem? So
mm.
I'm getting all the accolades from the mosque of Brother Tyrone's a good brother. I'm getting all the accolades of the mosque of Brother Tyrone's a soldier. I'm getting all the accolades of the mosque of, oh, that was a good lecture or good study group, conversation, or, oh, the numbers are right. The numbers are right. So I'm doing ministry, I'm doing secretarial, and I'm still, soldiering. When am I a father? When am I a husband?
Mm.
So um the MGT talk. And at this time, I'm now in a real estate office in Tempe, Arizona, with Sister Karen. May Allah be pleased with her. And oh Allah, the name she'll get me for this. I believe it's Sister Naima. She used to be a Vanguard captain out in LA. Sister Naima. She's also doing real estate. So we now have an office in Tempe. So I'm there and doing it. But as an MGT, they're all MGT. um, I go and I put my letter in for resignation. I said, I need a break. Brother Student Minister Patrick, we're still buddies, we're good. Just saw him in Day of Atonement 2024 or 20, I think it might have been 23, 24, but I was just in Miami, so we totally good. Everything, had dinner and everything. But um, he really doesn't really want. You can't easily switch out of a secretary. You can easily get an assistant minister, hard to switch out of the secretary. So there's a little bit of difficulty getting out the post. So 6 months go by after I try to write a letter of resignation from the post to be relieved so I could spend more time at home, and it was very demanding, etc. So long story short, at work it becomes shop talk. But I'm talking to Sister Karen, Rockman, may Allah be pleased with her. So she goes, do you want me to tell my husband? And I'm like, no, uh, I I don't want to be on his radar. Now I'm in Phoenix, but I'm trying to lay low. Okay, I'm not, look at me. I'm just, let me do the work. And if you touch my shoulder and say, come here, I'll submit. But you're not gonna find her time running for that spotlight. So I'm like, no, no, no. She's like, brother, because now we're friends now. I'm picking up Yasin once in a while, or we're close, So she knows my wife and my children. I know her children, and my she knows that I'm not doing right by Sister Masha. Long story short, so she tells the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and long story short, because I'm not too sure if I don't think Brother Patrick knows that I know this, but she told me that he told him, and I think Minister Patrick might have told me this, Student Minister Patrick might have told me this. He said, I don't want to counsel that brother through a divorce.
Mm, mm,
Relieve that brother, let that brother go. I don't want to counsel that brother through a divorce. And I'll
mm.
tell you, Brother Joshua, that was some of the best advice that I got from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. That was some of the best advice that I directly got from him, or indirectly, but about my situation. So that was that advice. That's one of many gems that I got from him in intimate sessions or manners.
Yes, sir. Beautiful. All praises due to Allah. People bear witness. It's the Miriam M. Moon saying she's enjoying this history and
Praise
photos.
be to Allah.
You are a God, black man. It's okay to bear witness to your own greatness. All praises to Allah.
Praise be
Sister
to
Naima
Allah.
says, "Oh, so beautiful." Aaron Barnes, all praises to Allah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Walaikum salam. Sister Nia, thank you for always showing love. And thank you for everyone who's bear witnessing all around the world. Okay. Yeah. All right. Now, what has been some of your greatest joys in life, sir?
Um, I would have to say the word.
mm.
It's the word. It's the word. In the beginning was the word was with God, and the word was God. So I'm an analyst by trade now, beloved brother Joshua. So if you say, wait a minute, I didn't say what I was into in Boston, right? But the consistent theme is I'm into money, right? I'm into money. But not as a worship, but as an American need. I need money to provide for my family. So in Boston, I was an investment officer.
Mm,
In Phoenix, I got into real estate and I was a loan officer and then eventually turned into uh, a retail lending sales manager. So I was teaching people how to be loan scum buckets, real bad,
mm,
real
mm.
bad. Um, but I'm not responsible for the fall of the market in 2007. I'm not responsible for that.
Okay, okay.
Um, and right now I'm an analyst. So when I analyze things, I'm analyzing my answer to your question. And I would have to say it's the word. What I love most is the word because there's life in it, there's energy, there's power, as we're taught by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And nothing for us, if we have any sense, nothing for us exists without the word. Can you hear any background noise?
No, sir.
Just making sure, just making sure. I got an adult son that just must have won something on a video game. But shout out to another shout out to Phoenix. Brother Hannibal told me to get this microphone and I got the microphone, I had a green screen and all that stuff. And I say that to say that the word becomes flesh. The word is contained in every believer.
Mm.
The word is contained in every believer. So I remember all the advice I got in the form of words from believers. Um, it was a brother named Keith. May Allah be pleased with him. I shared you pictures of my influences. I thought I shared a picture of Brother Keith. Oh, I did. I shared a picture of Brother Keith. Now, this is the word. What's my favorite thing, right? My
Yes, sir.
favorite thing is the word. The words I got from Brother Keith was anyone that knows Brother Keith, may Allah be pleased with him. This is out of Boston. Um, Brother Keith was my barber. Brother Keith was my best man at my wedding. We got married at 101 Northampton Street in Boston. We got married using mosque chairs. We got married. All the believers came from the mosque number 11 and married me in Brother Keith's apartment.
Mm,
So I got love, and love once again is a four-letter word, but love is also demonstrated. But I'd have to say my favorite thing about Islam is the word, and then we can play around with that, beloved brother Joshua. They said, well, if you said in the beginning was the word, and the word was with God, and the word
yes,
was
sir.
God, then I would have to say it's also love. Um, this is the Sister Julia. May Allah be pleased with her. This is Sister Julia X, who, when I was homeless, she let me stay with her. But it
Mm,
was the
mm,
life-giving teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad that she trusted and allowed her son's best friend. Her son was named Asalam. May Allah be pleased with him. She allowed Asalam's friend to stay. And if I was in that house listening to that VHS tape, and also that once in a while they would play the minister on a local cable channel in the 80s. If I didn't hear that man yelling black this and black that and unity this and come together that, when Brother Joseph invited me to the mosque, I would have never been to the mosque in November of 88. So I would have to say what I love the word. I love the word. Brother Captain Jabba was sent to Phoenix back in the early 80s. They wanted to help with a new captain in Phoenix. So remember now, I'm already close to Brother Jabba in the late 80s, 90s when I joined. But the word, if you're a student of the word, which is my favorite thing, you asked me, Brother Tom, what's your favorite thing? It's the word. If
mm,
you're a student of the word and you let that word become flesh, then the most honorable Elijah Muhammad and the honorable minister Louis Farrakhan, they tell us My sheep know me by a whisper, that we know him in a hint. We know him by a certain voice. So we know someone with Minister Farrakhan, and we know something that ain't right. It's
Mm.
kindred spirits.
Yes,
So when
sir.
I went to Phoenix, Brother Jabba was sent out to Phoenix in the early 80s to help train a young brother who didn't have a background of being a captain. He was from New York. Minister Farrakhan trusted him. He was now in Phoenix, and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan wanted him to be a captain. The same brother that Captain Jabba helped train to be a captain ended up being the same brother that we got endeared to. You understand this? That's what I mean about the word. The word is magnificent because all the time, brother Amin is just watching me because I'm doing posts on MGT class. I'm doing posts for study group Friday night in Phoenix. I'm taking believers home. I was taking a sister home. She had children. She needed to go home. I drove her home. She was coming at times in a car or from a bus stop. I would help her off the bus. I'd walk her to the mosque. I'm doing what I think a FOI does. No big deal. He said, brother, that's my daughter. Her name's Sister Connie. May Allah be pleased with her. He
Mm.
says, so many people have misjudged her, but you don't judge my daughter at all. You're so kind to her. If she needs a ride, you give her a ride. And you know Phoenix, beloved. I'm talking about giving a ride from Phoenix to Mesa.
Mm.
Phoenix, like out there. But I'm like, you got gas, you got a car, you're going to get your blessings. Go on and give the sister a ride. But all praise is due to Allah. But that really endeared Sister Amina and Brother Amin and I, so our families got really, really close. But it was the word. It was the word inside of me striving to live and make that word flesh, giving his daughter a ride home. I didn't even know it was his daughter. And then it
Mm.
was him making the word flesh, trying to be a good captain out there in Phoenix. May Allah be pleased with him. And then when I told him where I was from and I told him who one of my influences were, we laughed. The same person that trained him in captaincy was the same person that helped and developed me when I was a lieutenant and when I was training in Boston. So I would have to say that it's the word. The word is the most favorite thing for me, beloved, is the word. And that play on words is the word is also God, and they also say God is love.
Yes, sir.
So synonymous to answering your question, one of my favorite things is love in the
Mm.
teaching. One of my
Mm.
favorite things is love. Um, Flowers, and a funny story, flowers, um, while you live, the love of this believer here. Um, Anyone that knows Sister Virginia, anyone that knows Sister Virginia knows she is darling, she is wonderful,
Mm. Mm.
she is
Mm.
beautiful,
Yes, sir.
but she also has other attributes. She's no nonsense. And I'm going to go ahead and take the liberty. And I said this on that date, September 21st, 2024, when we were doing a tribute to the 40th anniversary of Mosque number 11. Um, I said, you probably can't see it because my picture might be covering it, but there's a date on this picture. Um, I said, oh, Sister Virginia, the love she has for the teachings causes her to, at times, come across no nonsense, and she don't like no punks.
Mm.
She does not like no punks. She does not like little soft men. So the funny story that I wanted to make sure I share with you and your audience is I took my letter out in November of '88. I wrote it and sent it off to headquarters. And like I took it out Sunday and I sent it off on Monday. Now, I told you on the phone that I was part of a business club in school. So your college can laugh, but I'll pop my collar on that one. I was a nerd, right? I was a nerd, right? So I'm in Boston, and I was in the business cluster or a business unit of high school. So I was familiar with cursive writing. I was familiar with writing letters. I wrote the letter, sent it off to Chicago, got my letter back, and I needed forms. So I had my forms to be able to recite, for my ex or whatever. I had my forms rather, where you got to do your pictures, those who know about processing in the nation. I had that in December. So I went to see Sister Virginia like 2 weeks after taking out my letter on a Sunday, sidebar story. Such cities and study groups, don't delay with the letter. If someone accepts and wants to join, give them the letter the same day. Anyone that's making like it takes an act of Congress or the bill of God to give somebody their letter after they accept, either they're confused or they're suspect. So I just
Mm,
wanted to give that jab. We got to train them fast and process them quick. That's what they did. Me and Randy got our letters the same day.
mm,
So,
mm,
do that. Give the people their letters and let them join. So the funniest thing is, so I come back with forms because once again, I'm in the streets and I'm like, I come to the mosque. She's at the front window, and I go, "Here goes my forms. I don't know where to get a picture. I'm grimy brother Tyrone. I'm from the street. I don't know where to get a picture." She goes, "Brother, where's where's your letter?" I said, "I sent it to Chicago." So she says, "Brother, the letter's supposed to be," so she's checking me. I love her. She's checking me. "Brother, your letter's supposed to come to my desk. We're supposed to approve it, then send it off. You got to do it right, brother." So now, chesty, arrogant. Now I ain't got my ex. I'm all messed up. Well, evidently I did it right because I got the forms. Could you tell me where I can get my picture? Look, we've been in love. We've been in love. That's my auntie. That's like a mother to me. I seen her moving, quick moving, fast thinking, up and down, back and forth on Blue Hill Ave. Because I'm on Devon and Blue Hill Ave. She worked Minister Don in the cleaners. She worked with
mm,
him in the cleaners. So once in a while, I think she would go to a restaurant or a store and she would have to cross Devon Street, which was perpendicular to Blue Hill Ave. So she's going to Akbar's. I think used to have a store called Akbar's. So she's going to Akbar's. She's going to the store. But I'm like, there goes that sister again with the beautiful hair, or there goes that sister with the beautiful headdress. So I always admired her. And then it turns out she's a sister in the mosque telling me how to do my letter the right way the next time, but there was no next time, right? But she always showed me love because I don't think she ever saw a punk. And I
mm,
always showed her love because I'm pausing to say it with tact. Because of my upbringing, I always admired strong women, and I always seen Sister Virginia, and I always see Sister Virginia as a strong woman. So that's what I admired of her is that she didn't seem like, as the minister teaches hard, no silly woman. She's
mm.
far from a silly woman. So to earn her respect and to see that love, that's genuine love there. That's genuine love. That's my auntie. That's like a mom, nothing but love for Sister Virginia. So that's what I would have to also say is I love the word, and the word is with God, and God is love. So also the word is love, and they're all four-letter words outside of God. And I would have to say that's my favorite thing, and I had to use that as an opportunity to give a shout out of love to Sister Virginia and the love she's shown me over the decades.
All praises due to Allah. Please, shout. I've known her, well, she's known me and my siblings our entire life. And every time we see her, always very loving and warm. And like I said, no nonsense, very serious sister, but very kind as well. So shout out to you, Sister Virginia. And once again, we salute you,
Praise
Brother
be to
Minister,
Allah.
Brother Tyrone, for your sacrifices, the many sacrifices that you have endured to help establish Islam here in North America, as well as your family. We salute
Praise
your
be
wife,
to
your
Allah.
children. We hope your son won in Call of Duty or 2K, whatever he's playing. We hope that he won as well. Yes, sir. And I also, we got two major questions that I wanted to ask you. Your Can you let us know what your title is of you going to school for, and like the
Understood. 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 I am going for a Bachelor of Science in Data Analytics.
mm,
You are looking at a 54-year-old college senior.
Mm.
I will not tell you my GPA, but I will tell you that I'm at 96 out of 120 credits needed. Praise be to Allah. It was very necessary. I didn't see the need of it, beloved. I was just so gun-ho with Islam. When I first joined, um, beloved brother Joshua, and your listening audience, when I first joined, I got what I needed. So you'll see here, all I needed was brotherhood, and I got it.
Mm.
So I'm not wearing glasses here, but you have to understand that while I came in, not knowing my father, having Captain Jabba at my side as a father, and a lot of these brothers, especially as younger ones, he asked us to name our sons, our firstborn males, after him.
Mm.
So, can you tell me the name of my firstborn son?
Jabber.
Jabba.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Brother student minister Abdul Rasul Muhammad posted recently on a social media page, um, Brother Wali. And Brother Wali used to be the editor and the manager of the Final Call. This is in the late 90s, late 80s, early 90s. The day Allah took or permitted Brother Wali to leave us was a very significant day. If you go to the early 90s, late 80s, we were all teaching with the big shaded glasses. We would call them Farrakhans, and everybody's wearing cufflinks, and we trying to imitate the minister. But Brother Wali taught, similar to Brother Saad, um, he taught more scholarly and a bit more soft spoken. And me coming out of Boston, coming from a little bit of a corporate background, he was really one of my inspirations to join the ministry and take the ministry serious without trying to um, fake the antics of a Farrakhan. But I definitely want to mimic the spirit of a Farrakhan without trying to just, get cufflinks and the eyeglasses, get the spirit, get the moral correctness of a Farrakhan, not the correct color of suit or alligator shoes of a Farrakhan, get the spirit of a Farrakhan. So when brother passed, he passed on my wedding day,
Mm.
Thursday night, November 26th. So when he passed, we also gave Jabba the middle name of Wali
Mm.
because Brother Wali was very, 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 very instrumental in just my whole perception of how to do the ministry. But the I'm veering from the question. Forgive me, but I got a lot of what I needed, and I know you wanted to know about my title and about how to be addressed. And we were dealing with going to school so late. Um, I went to school so late because I thought everything was satisfied with the nation. All things were fulfilled with the nation. Now, Brother Yusuf already had his degree, but I'm coming from the streets. I don't know any, I don't know if you can see the mouse on the screen, but I'm coming from the streets. I don't know anything about no bachelor's degree. Remember, Minister
Mm.
Don convinced me to walk across the stage for high school. And then you I already showed you my graduation picture. When we graduated wearing our FOI uniforms. So we were about that. We were all about Islam. We were all about Islam when we graduated. And when we graduated my high school, we had about 4 FOI that day. So as long as I was fishing or praise be to Allah, as long as I was fishing or raising the dead, that's all I needed. So Brother Randy, he already stood on his own. I did not fish in Randy. I did not. We just met each other in school. We looked at each other. I think he was wearing some pins. Those that look at those old videos of De La Soul, or if you look at old hip hop videos, we used to wear leather medallions that had Minister Farrakhan, Malcolm X, Elijah Muhammad on them. So he was wearing some medallions. I was wearing some medallions. We're crossing each other in the hallway at Madison Park. Now remember, I got one foot in the mosque one foot in the streets. He got one foot in the mosque, one foot in the streets. We were there the same day and didn't even know each other. So now I run into him in school a couple of months later. He's repping his Islam. I'm repping my Islam. He hasn't seen me yet at the mosque. I haven't seen him yet at the mosque. So we started off banging at each other. You know what you're wearing? Yeah, I know what I'm wearing. You know what you're wearing? Yeah, I know what I'm wearing. So then we started saying what we're wearing. Crescent moon and star, freedom, justice, and equality, Islam. Boom, boom, we go back. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Mesfra Muhammad, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, the three being one. Boom, boom, we going back and forth. Then when we were done, we started laughing. We hugged each other. We've been brothers in love and brotherhood ever since. But yeah, all praises due to Allah. But that's my dude, Brother Randy. But this Brother Robert, love him with all my heart. When I was down and I still was homeless, I eventually had to move out of the Motri, Brother Asalam's house. Very grateful. And I ended up living with my first fish. So I told you the story of when I shrunk my suit.
Yes, sir.
I didn't feel worthy to come back because I didn't have a suit. Remember, I don't know these things. I didn't feel right until I came back with a fish. So I came back with my first fish, and it's the brother over here with the bow tie, Brother Robert, good soldier, good believer. My second fish was Brother Frank, and then my third fish was my wife. The brother here, not a fish of mine, but we went to high school together, and we grew up in the same neighborhood. So it was like crazy Tyrone, because I was out there, Brother Joshua. You all can get the vibes and energy with me and with me registered. Imagine me out of Islam and just wild and filled up, whatever. My brother here, Jeffrey, he said, man, if Tyrone can do it, and other brothers said, if he can do it, I can do it. They never told me that, but I already knew that's what it was. If crazy Tyrone can join, I can join. So this beautiful brother, Brother Clifford, Brother Leslie, all these brothers, Jeffrey's cousin, all these brothers, we went to school or hung out together. So I got everything I needed with the word and with the love of the brotherhood. And all I knew was raising the dead. So I clearly see why Brother Minister Don sent me out to Lynn, because in Boston, I was fishing like crazy. Directly or indirectly, went to high school, best friends growing up, and all we did was raise the dead. All we did was just raise the dead. But yeah, so I got into data analytics when the pandemic hit. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan told us to go into our chambers and to reflect. And I've been running from my degree, Brother Joshua, for 3 decades. I've been running from it for 3 decades because going back to the drug addicted child, I was getting my fix from the mosque. I was getting my fix. As long as I'm in the work, if people are happy with me, I'm good. It took years for me to be comfortable with people saying, Brother Tyrone, go fly a kite. And I'm at peace with it. You know, I would used to just genuflect, do anything and everything to make sure I got that attention because I needed that approval. You know, dad wasn't there. Mom had issues. So I wanted everything to go right within the 4 walls of the mosque. But when the pandemic hit, COVID-19 hit, I said, either I'm going to come out of this pandemic the same Negro that I was with a holy name, or I'm going to come out addressing head on my Achilles heel. And that's been getting my bachelor's degree out the way. So your brother has been a full-time, not part-time, a full-time college student. All praises due to Allah. And I thank Allah for my wife who's tolerating this. A full-time college student and a full-time senior financial data analyst for the last 4 years, a demanding job while going to a demanding course. I could have went to a light, fluffy class. I really could have. I won't mention any other degrees because I don't want to disrespect anybody's field. But data science is very difficult. But my goal, I'll say this, I don't want to give away too many things, but I'll say this. The Supreme Wisdom says, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was critiqued. He was critiqued by some of those in the 60s saying that the only people that joined the nation was the uneducated. And then the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan brought some of the educated minds to Mosque number 7 and then eventually at the headquarters. And, we've made these efforts. But now you see, we have those educated minds suited and booted and Farrakhan recruited in the nation, So I'm now wanting to be one of those, but you don't need it. You don't need it for the nation on the surface. But you do need it if you want to help the nation at certain levels. Technology allows us to get into that modern science, that modern technology. Just imagine us marrying a lot of our information with the ability to gauge metrics and monitor process and improvement. So I'm speaking to you as a data analyst who ran away from being a student secretary with a ministerial background from doing a study group from scratch by the grace of Allah. So I'm looking at this whole thing from a whole different angle of retention rates, year over year, percentages, scaling them, metrics, all that. But I won't say that live on television, even though I just said that live.
Yes,
But yeah,
sir.
I went back to school to marry my Islam with data science, but also once again for the money. There's a lot of money in technology, and my wife, I love her with all my heart, but she won't let me be a lazy man. I can't play, my son can play Call of Duty. I can't play Call of Duty. She wants me to make money, and I do.
Beautiful. Yes, sir. Praise be to Allah. People bear witness all around the world. Brother Daniel E says, Assalamu alaikum, salam. Aaron Barnes says, peace, all praises to Allah. Mobile Detail Supreme, no question that you are following how to eat to live. The Gentleman's Journal, brother came with the whole presentation. Thank you all very much for watching. Sister Nia Muhammad, alhamdulillah. We have we got three. Our last three questions for you, brother student minister Tyrone. When you saw the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan at the hospital, and you saw him going through his illnesses when he was going up and down, doing over dealing with prostate cancer. How did that affect or did it affect your faith when you saw him like that?
It didn't affect my faith in a negative way. And I'm going to be honest with you, which we got to be honest. I was teaching that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan was the Messiah in the 90s.
Mm.
They used to nickname me in Boston. They used to nickname me, and I know they did it with affection. They would nickname me Jabril because you see me on Zoom and I'm presenting. I was on the whiteboard and I was doing presentations in the 90s, early 90s in Boston. I was quick. I loved the idea when a minister would hit the blackboard. I loved the concept of Minister Malcolm on the chalkboard. So I liked that. So me and Brother Randy, we used to run a squad. We were lieutenants and squad leaders, and we used to run a squad out of high school because we went to the same high school, but then we registered. I was such of a geek. I would take plain paper, put lines on it in a grid, put the brother's name, then put Monday through Sunday and begin to track their activity and hold them accountable. As a 18 and 19-year-old boy in high school, as a lieutenant and a squad leader. So I was always about presentation. I was always about structure. I was always about organization. So in regards to your question was pertaining to the ministry, right? Rephrase it again because I ran my mouth so much. I want to make sure I capture it.
Yes, sir. Did seeing the minister go up and down with his health?
Got you. So when the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and I was trusted from being at those hotels in Boston, and those were the fun posts because, they didn't attack him that bad until after he went to the hospital, after the Million Man March. Then they poisoned him with the seeds, the seeds to so-called eradicate the cancer, but they eradicated more. That's when he went into the bouts and the illnesses. Sister Yvette, who took care of her father, Sister Yvette, who was an example model MGT, who's an example model daughter, who's an example model believer, an example model child. May Allah forever, ever, ever, just keep giving thanks and gratitude to Sister Yvette, how she took care of Minister Don, and I'm sure she's helping out with his son, Don Jr. Sister Yvette used to be in a ministry class with me. And the ministry class in Boston was pretty tough. From the E-Team, Brother Sultan. Brother Sultan's wife, Sister Tawana, may Allah be pleased with her. She was in a ministry class with us in Boston. So I'm giving you some gems here. These are gems. There's a Haitian cook, Brother Captain Dennis called her Alice, but we call her Mary Alice or Mary. Yes. She was in a ministry class in Boston. It was a heavy ministry class. It was a heavy student ministry class. Sister Yvette, she said she no longer believes. She says she's convinced. So push her off the ledge, put a bandana around her eyes, and she'll walk on faith. She's convinced. So I had Minister Don poured in me, Sister Yvette influencing me, Sister Virginia influencing me, Captain Jabba influencing me, Brother Keith, go hard, crazy, zealot believer lieutenant influencing me. I'm talking, these are brothers that, and he was crazier than Jabba. The police drove behind the mosque one time in Boston during FOI class. We were so gung-ho, we ran out, blocked the police car, kept them in their doors. Now, of course, they could have rolled the window down and shot us. They could have shot us through the window, but we were just that gun-ho. Hopefully, Brother Randy don't mind me telling that story, putting them out there like that. But it was me and Randy holding the police in, and it was Captain Jabba that had to tell us, get off that car, get off that car. But we looked at Brother Keith, who was our lieutenant, and we said, should we get off the car? And he said, yeah, get off the car. But I'm trying to, that's how gun-ho, and I'm talking, this got to be 90, 91. So that same believer stays and eventually goes full-time into the ministry, and I'm now in Phoenix. I wasn't even believing who the minister was. I was just crazily convinced. After the Million Man March, it's the book of Exodus, chapter 16, verse 10 talks about Aaron speaking to the multitude. Mm-hmm. You invert 16:10, that's 10:16. That's October 16th. Mm-hmm. So I'm already crazily convinced that this is the Messiah. If he departs, he's only going to the wheel under the guise of illness. I'm like, he ain't gonna die. So how I felt being on security, I felt like I was in a trusted circle. I felt honored to be on guard. You know what it's like to be on post. You know what it's like to be, what is the F team, the E team, or any detail, whatever we call it, just to be selected, just to be picked. You ready to give your all on the spot, that time, that day. So for Salim to trust me, and then I know he's the student minister in I think it's the Inland Empire, Brother Kareem. But Kareem knew my face from different areas. So, just for certain people, Brother Rashad to trust me, because Brother Rashad, my name is Tyrone Muhammad, and I'm gonna tell you, Brother Rashad likes that name. But he knew me from Boston. So to be trusted in them circles, I felt honored, beloved Brother Joshua, to be at the door, hearing the Messiah play the violin, or to be at the door and know that, okay, today he's not shaved. He's not wearing a double-breasted suit. He's not that outward appearance that everyone's used to seeing, the Minister Farrakhan on the outside. I'm not well-versed. I don't know it all, but I was versed enough in the word of Allah to know that the prophet is human. The prophet is human. The prophet is a natural man. And there's a blessing and a curse to that. I'll say the curse first to get the nasty thing out the way. The curse to understanding that the prophet is a man is that we can forget that he's supernatural and As he said in his words, he has more power over us than we have over ourselves. But if you've been with him for decades and you kind of knew him prior to 75 and you've been around for decades, you could just have a pea brain and make a great stupid mistake and think that he's common just because Allah permits him to go through the same and common vicissitudes that you and I go through. Common flesh have extraordinary and divine purpose.
Mm.
And that's the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan at a level of degree far above us, because we all got a divine purpose, but his is that and then some. So when I was on those doors, going whether it was LA, whether it was Phoenix, um, I felt humbled, I felt honored, and us believers at times out in Phoenix, I'm looking up in the sky. Is there a will? Is there a will? Where's the will? And the thing is, Big Brother Joshua, me and Brother Randy saw a will
Mm.
in Savior's Day, 1991. So I was already convinced that the wheels were real before I even moved to Phoenix. But when I went to Phoenix doing all that security overnight, at the palace, not those intimate sessions, but regular at the palace, you already know. We seen them, we see them on a regular. We see
Mm.
them on a regular. So no, I felt I wasn't scared because I was really teaching. I've got flyers. You had me going into the archives, brother Joshua. I don't have an image of it, but I've got flyers. I've got flyers from 1996 up in Lynn, where we were literally teaching. This was Palm Sunday. I'm gonna text it to you later. Palm Sunday, Jesus's triumphant entrance in the Million Man March. That was a discussion I had March 28th, 1996. So I wanted to give you, I wanted to give you facts that I wasn't, I was a believer, but I was already convinced of who that man was. Convinced, just crazy, cuckoo convinced.
All praises to Allah. You
All
teaching,
praises due to
sir.
Allah.
And thank you very much. And people are bear witness all around the world. I wanted to ask you, sir, two more questions, but this is an important question for the audience of the People's Podcast. What is your favorite album of all time, sir?
Brother, all I'm going to do, all I'm going to do is share my screen. Okay. I'm not going to move
Okay.
things around. I'm going to share my screen.
Okay.
I hope, did I get it? I'm sharing screen one. Can you see it?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Enemy, 1999. Elijah is alive. Louis Farrakhan, FOI. Bloods and Crips and little old me, and we all getting ready for the enemy. Brother, Enemy is my favorite track, and that's my favorite album. Because while I'm a baby of It Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back, I'm a baby of Yo Bum Rush the Show. I'm a baby of Public Enemy. Make no mistake about it that my favorite group when it comes to that Islam is, I'm a follower of a Farrakhan. Don't tell me that you understand until you hear the man. I'm Public Enemy, ride or die. But Cube is PE too. You
Yes,
know,
sir.
Cube with Big Daddy Kane, they made Burn Down Hollywood, Burn Hollywood Burn. But it's that track Enemy, brother. That track Enemy on Lethal Injection and him using the music to wake up the dead and give the dead a lethal injection. It's not lethal to the people. It's lethal to the Satan's world. So to see him marrying Islam inside the music, brother, I gotta say, hands down, my favorite album is Lethal Injection. I'm a George Clinton fan. I'm a Funketeer. So
Okay.
You got Bop Gun on that. My brother Greg, who's out there in I think he's in Dallas. He knows how much of a music nut I am. Um, but he was in Phoenix when I was in Phoenix. And yeah, you got George Clinton all over this album. So you got Bop Gun, you got Enemy, you got Crazy Little Cave, so and so, So I'm just doing this off the dome. And once again, I don't possess the best memory, so I hide behind technology to cover
Yes, sir.
down when I
Yes,
be
sir.
forgetting stuff. But he got Cave B, he got Enemy, he got Bop Gun. There's just so much on that album, and that album was a perfect. I know other people will like that album where he had the Bloods and the Crips holding the Final Call newspaper,
Yes,
but
yes, sir.
for me, it's got to be Ice Cube's Lethal Injection, hands down, hands down.
Okay, and that's a first. But you can't go wrong with Ice Cube, Lethal, any Ice Cube album, but especially Lethal Injection. And my sister Miriam's a big fan of Ice Cube, and she always used to
I see
play
you
that.
got death certificate on your wall.
Oh yes, sir, yes, sir. You don't know what it is. You know what I'm saying? But that was a gift from my sister Miriam. She was always playing Ice Cube and the Lynch Mob, and Mimi was always like, she was big into that. And matter of fact, I remember one time she got in trouble at MUI for having the lethal injection a pen. It was
Come
a
on.
pen she would have that, and I used to be like, Mimi, you gotta chill with your Ice
They're
Cube.
not
That's
ready for that. They're not ready
yeah.
for that. I'll say this when it comes to hip hop. Um, there are some people, I won't mention any titles. There are some people who have said in front of other ears publicly that they don't like hip hop.
Mm,
Now, it's okay for you personally to not like hip hop, but you have to see the value in it. And when you say publicly and you bang your chest on it and you hold it as a badge of honor that you don't like hip hop, think of what the Messiah says. And
mm,
you can correct me on this because I always get it messed up. The Messiah says one rap song is worth more than 1,000 lectures, if I'm correct.
that's correct.
Brother, I don't think I've taught 1,000 lectures. Now, if I add my openings plus lectures, I'm there. But I don't think I taught 1,000 lectures, and I've been teaching since 1988.
Mm,
But there's no way that we don't see the value in hip hop
mm.
and then say we're following the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and we say we don't see the value in hip hop. Now, that's a marriage answer in a marriage question. This is how dense your brother and how simple your brother hears you. Brother Tyrone, do you like the youth? Do
Mm,
you understand that?
mm.
You didn't say, Brother Tyrone, what's your favorite album? I believe your question was, what's your favorite rap album or hip hop album?
No, favorite album.
Oh, it was favorite album.
Yes, sir.
Well, I done gave it away. For me, I can't even think about a favorite album as talking to a member of the Nation of Islam without saying a hip hop associated or related album, Ice
Mm.
Cube. So that's the way I view it. We have to speak the people's language. And today's language is hip hop. If we don't think today's language is hip hop, and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said that hip hop is like a religion, then understand that they're talking about the Super Bowl and Brother Kendrick Lamar. That's the new religion. They're talking about Drake, trying to cover down and do more with the NFL. That's hip hop. Even our sister Beyonce, who just did the Christmas halftime show, all her energy is hip hop infused R&B. And of course she's with Jay-Z. So it's all hip hop. So that's the way I had to speak to that music thing, is that I'm diverse with my music. I like Steely Dan. I'm born and raised in Boston, right?
Okay,
So
okay,
I
okay.
like Steely Dan. I like Aerosmith. If you ask me, Brother Tyrone, can you show me your title? If I was to show you my title, you would see Compa from my Haitian side. My wife's Haitian. You
Mm,
would see Pink Floyd, because once again, I went to school in Southie. So you'd see
yeah.
Pink Floyd. My favorite album is The Wall. Um, um, my favorite song is Wish You Were Here, which is not
Okay,
on
okay.
which is not on the wall. I went to live concerts. I saw Sting before. I saw Peter Gabriel before. So I'm not Migos or Drake, but I do walk it like I talk it.
Yes, sir.
Um, I'm a hip hop head, and I'm gonna use this as a justifiable bridge. I asked my daughter. I said, "Baby girl, what's that song? What's that song from Brother Kendrick where he mentions know that you are God, and she looked it up, and she helped me with the lyrics. But it's whacked up murals on the GNX album. We dealing with music. Listen to this. Now I don't. These are not my lyrics. I'm just saying what student in the ministry, Brother Kendrick Lamar said. Okay. He goes, yeah, nigga, go up in your rank. Know you a God even when they say you ain't. Do you understand that there are now people who are listening to GNX, listening to whacked out murals over and over and over, hearing that they're a God from our brother Kendrick? This is absolutely a new religion. This is absolutely a new religion. And then when you listen to what he says, he's telling us to up your rank, know that you're a God. Up your rank, know that you're a God. We all, Brother Joshua, need to up our rank. What you mean, Brother Tyrone? Look, when the Savior, the great Savior, left Mecca and came to deliver us, he broke that circle of gods and he upped his rank and said, I'm going to make a new circle of gods in the West.
Yes, sir.
By himself. That's upping his rank. When the great Savior left, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, in 1934, what did he have to do? He had to know that he was a God and he had to up his rank.
Yes, sir.
Now, you take 1934, 35, when the Savior left in the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and we can flash forward to 1974, 1975. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and the whole nation of Islam had to up their rank. The last words for Savior's Day from the most honorable Elijah Muhammad were 1974. He took flight in 1975. So he had to know that he was a God and up his rank within 3 years later in 1977, 1978, he upped his rank. Now you flash forward to 2024 and 2025. Student Minister Ishmael already been dealing with this. This is very significant. The last lecture from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, physically in our face, was Savior's Day 2024. And the title was, I'm paraphrasing, but I believe I got it. I got it because I wrote it down. What does Allah, the great Mahdi, and the great Messiah have to say about the war in the Middle East? Now, a small mind will say, that's a lot of words. Why he use all those words? Why didn't he say, what's up with the Middle East? Know that you are God. Up your rank.
Yes, sir.
What does Allah, the great Mahdi?
Come on.
That's Allah, the great Mahdi. That's a rank. But unsaid, the moment you got to say great Mahdi, who's under the great Mahdi? Mahdi. So he's already dealing with rank right now. This is hip hop because Kendrick Lamar is talking about to the 85ers, up your rank. And I'll say so-called 85ers because some of them are more comfortable knowing that they're a God than some of us with supreme wisdom. So then you go, the great Messiah have to say about the war in the Middle East. So for the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan to say the great Messiah, then you know, well, what's under the great Messiah? Him, Messiah. So if we got a great Mahdi and a Mahdi, a great Messiah and a Messiah, after 4 decades in Islam, I'm in my 4th decade of Islam. We're in our 3rd, 4th decade. We some of us born in it. You blessed to be born in it. Are we really, we have no rank? Or are we not obeying Brother Kendrick when he says, up your rank? Know that you are God, regardless of what other people think. So if he is the Messiah, at least we can be apostles. At least we can be little Jesuses. He taught the lecture, the 4 Jesuses.
Come on.
He's been telling us for a while. So this hip hop question or the album question also still marries How did I feel about being on the door at the hospital? I used to compare it to basketball. If Jordan got an injury, you got to call in the bench. If Kobe got injured, man, I'll be pleased with him. You got to call in the bench. If LeBron gets injured, you got to call in the bench. What are we gonna do when the minister goes? What are we gonna do when the minister goes? Some of us are biting our nails. Don't
Come on.
bite your. Some of us are gonna lose our hair. Don't lose your hair. Some of us are gonna get deeply depressed and concerned. Don't. Up your rank. Know that you are God. Some of us are looking forward to coming off the bench and showing what we got.
Come
I'm gonna
on.
give you a quote. I'm gonna give you a quote from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. This is a quote from Savior's Day 2024. After Brother Daniel, Brother Nuri, and then Brother Student Minister Ishmael were doing all the openings. He says later on in the lecture, this is just before he's about to get the seat. The team's going to put him in the seat because his legs were getting tired. He says, no worry. I had notes here. He said, no worry. Well, I got to quote the minister. I got to quote the minister right now. He said, Allah help me. He said, the nation of Islam is not going anywhere but up.
Wow, wow, wow.
So we shouldn't worry. Our second term examination is coming up.
Come on with
But
it.
no, Savior made us a nation of gods.
Mm.
The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan says in the this book here, the Restrictive Laws of Islam, his goal, Master Fard Muhammad's goal, is to make a circle of gods the same type of circle that produced Shabazz. So that's a quote from the Restrictive Law book. So we got to own this. We got to own this. Know that you are God, if not by Kendrick's album. And he'll tell you. So I had to make sure I got that in there because you're speaking to me in this. I don't know, is this your first interview of 2025?
Yes, sir, it is.
You're speaking to me in
No, second
2025.
interview. Second.
Praise be to Allah. You're speaking to me in the first week of 2025. You're speaking to me on the first Sunday of 2025. And I see that. I was waiting to see if student minister Ishmael was going to drop it this morning, but he dropped it. He was dropping the significance of the 74 and the 75 and the 2024 and the 2025. But this 2025 has the exact same calendar of 1975. 2025, I don't know if Allah blessed me to take an image of it, but 2025 has the exact same calendar. Your listeners, I don't think I took a picture of it, but your listeners,
Take your time. We right here with you. We give you
okay,
time.
so I'm gonna pull it up. But 2025 has the exact same calendar of 1975. So I'm gonna go 1975 calendar. Now, anyone that says, "Oh, Brother Tyrone just made the 1975 calendar," you're bugging, you're crazy. So I'm a share this screen. Pardon me, Ice Cube. I'm gonna have to put this over you, Ice Cube. I'm gonna share this screen. Screen one. Got it. Now, brother, I can't make this up. This is 2025. This is 1975. In 2025, the calendar started on Wednesday the 1st. I'm speaking today on Sunday the 5th. So this calendar is identical to the calendar of 1975. Can't make this up. Can't make this up. So I see that and I say that's very, very significant. Significant number two is that 2025, did I share it?
No, sir.
I didn't share it. Oh,
No, sir.
Allah. Now I'm too excited. You can see it now, right? You can see the Ice Cube album.
Yes, I see Ice Cube album.
Okay. I'm gonna do it right in front of you. because I thought it was up. You see it now?
Okay. Yes, sir.
Brother, I'm speaking to you on Sunday the 5th. This Wednesday started with a what the Frank? What the frack?
Yes.
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Yes,
This
sir.
this year started with a WTF. So as we go into Savior's Day, wherever it's going to be, whenever it's going to be, however it goes down, but I already got my tickets to fly out to Chicago. Um, we're literally on the same calendar as
Mm,
1975.
mm.
We're on the same calendar of 1975. And what blows my mind is that Student Minister Ishmael today was dealing with a lot of number nines. He was like saying nine's the number of completion, nine's the number of completion. You can see can you see the calculator?
Yes, sir.
The square root of 2025 is 45. 45 times 45 equals 2025. The
Mm,
square root of 2025 is 45. And what blows my mind with that, that's also nine. That's all nothing but completion. That's
mm,
all nothing but completion. And when I see that, and I think about the truth of the hour and the truth of the time that we're in, I of course, I had to go. I said, well, what's inside of Sora? What's inside of Sora 45? And where's that going? And all I can say is that Sora 45 deals with it has like 5 sections. Sora 45 has 5 sections, and I'm gonna blitz through it out of respect for the time and respect for the audience in the ear. But Sora 45 has 5 sections. Denial of revelation. They've been denying the truth of the teaching of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad for
mm,
decades.
mm.
But the revelation is nothing but the truth.
Allahu Akbar.
And they're going to be judged for the denial of the truth. And it's going to be nothing but doom for them. And I thought I had 5 sections, unless it went fast. 4 sections. And that blew my mind. Yep. That blew my mind and that's the kneeling. Yep, that's the kneeling. That blew my mind because the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan told Student Minister Ishmael that while that was his last lecture in front of us physically, February 2024, you still got to go by your last instruction. That was not his last lecture. He actually gave Student Minister Ishmael the words for the Day of Atonement 2024, which
Mm,
blew my mind. So he
mm,
said, this lecture that I'm giving you is from the minister. And anyone that heard today's lecture, Student Minister Ishmael was saying, go back and listen to the Day of Atonement. In that last instruction, which, you always go by your last instruction. In that last instruction, and I simply have this from listening to it prior to this, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan was literally saying that because of America's denial of the truth, of the revelation, they're not going to avoid the judgment. They're not going to avoid the doom. And our job is just encourage our people about the teachings, encourage our people that we need to separate. And the Savior came to separate us and make us a nation of perfect rulers. That's in our rules of instructions from the Supreme Wisdom book. So we can't even be made a nation of perfect rulers, gods, until we're separated. We're not even going to love each other deep enough. The minister wants us to love deeper. We got to love deeper. We're not even going to be in the frame of mind to love each other right and properly deeper because we're still trying to function in America, chasing this dollar or chasing the attention of our open enemy. But no, I'm excited. I'm excited, beloved. But go ahead. What's your praise be to Allah? What's your final question? But all that came from hip hop hip hop music and knowing that we're with God in this hour.
Yes, sir. No, you answered multiple questions to that. On that note, that's a good closing. I just want to read you. Thank you to the Emu. She said she's ordering a lethal injection jacket because of this interview. Brother Derek Sting and the police for him. Okay, thank you, brother Derek. Brother Maze X, he salutes you, brother Joshua, brother Tyrone. Thank you, brother Maze X. Brother,
Praise be
it was
to
my
Allah.
honor meeting you, sir. It was my honor meeting you, brother Maze X. Brother Derek, why um why do you get crazy? We've been trained our whole life and simply
Praise be
design.
to Allah.
Anything can change no matter how you break it down. They break it, building with the guys, everybody's mathematics, 9945, piece
Yes,
together. But
sir. Yes, sir. This is it. This is it.
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Kneeling. They're going to kneel, brother. They're going to kneel. 2025, the square root of 2025 is 45. They're going to kneel. One of the largest points the student minister Ishmael said at the Day of Atonement was he's outlived all his detractors. They're going to kneel, brother. Praise be to Allah.
Beautiful. And welcome salam, Sister Sarah. Always showing love. Thank you all very much in the comments and all of the subscribers and everyone who's
Praise be to
watching.
Allah.
On that positive note, we've been well fed today. Thank you for teaching,
Praise
our
be
student
to Allah.
minister Tyrone. This is Joshua Leonard Muhammad signing off with the People's Podcast. Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Walaikum salam. Love you and your family. Best to you. Please give your father nothing but love and respect. Your whole family, love and respect, and your audience. Assalamu alaikum. Happy Savior's Day.
Alaikum salam. Happy Savior's Day to you too, my brother, and thank you all for watching. This has been great. Assalamu alaikum again. Boom, boom.